Alright, if people end up hearing this, it kind of sucks because like it's still saying buffering, but it could be
Mhm.
live, I don't know. Alright, so it's switching now. Should be up. Okay. So, hello everyone. Welcome to Defense of the Radio. I wish we had a cool intro to play, but at the moment we don't. I think Tim might have. Anyway, so I'm Dan, and joining me once again is Josh.
Hello.
Yeah. No one asked you, Josh. But anyway, so very, very happy to be doing this again. Sorry for the delay if you're a listener. Um, we haven't been doing much because, everyone's been busy and it's kind of been chaotic. And Tim, the owner of Defense of the Radio, actually just had a baby. He was pregnant and he gave birth. So, well, not really. It was his wife, but close enough. So yeah, we're all very happy for him, and you might understand why it's a little hectic right now. But we hope to get on track soon, have a nice schedule, and you can tune in whenever you want, and hopefully have a good time. So, Josh, what are we talking
Yeah.
about today?
Well, today we're going to be talking. Well, TI5 just ended about 2 weeks ago or so, and we're going to be talking about TI5, like the whole meta and everything, how we thought it personally was, and like compared to the other internationals, and then we're also going to be talking about our predictions for next patch.
Yeah, all right. So we can totally do that. Um, so I guess we should talk about like the heroes that were picked the most, or unless
Mhm.
you, or you want to talk about the events of TI and the ending. Because as we all know, spoiler alert, evil geniuses won first place. America.
Yeah, beating out CDEC. They won 3 games to 1. They won the first one, lost the second one, then won the next two. I believe it was. All right,
Yeah,
so uh, I say we talk about the hero, like pick and bans and stuff like that, um, and like why we thought they were picked or banned a lot. Um,
okay.
so like there were 200% big pick ban heroes, Leshrac and Gyrocopter. Um, Lesh was only picked 18 times because he was banned almost every single game. He only stopped being banned toward like the last few sets of matches. Teams stopped banning him as much because um, up until like the last 2 days or whatever, he was banned in 100% of games. And then I think it was CDEC or LGD or something. I think it was LGD actually, who was the first team to not ban him in a game, and then destroyed destroyed against him. They played Phantom Lancer and they just like wrecked
Let's
Leshrac.
track.
And then other teams were like, "Oh, we can actually deal with this hero." Like
Yeah,
it's
well,
not
he's
like
clearly like one of the most broken, if not the most broken hero of the patch. So, I guess it's mainly not that he's too strong, or like really, really strong to the point where he's like too scary, no one can deal with him, but mainly that he's very good at almost anything he does. And so he's like a really safe pick for each team. But because he's a safe pick, he's kind of easy to also deal with, right? Because you know that, for example, a BKB completely nullifies him. You know that he's a strong laner, so you might want to work around that, maybe mess up his laning as much as you can, and all that. So it's he's mainly like a safe pick, not something like so OP like Ice Frog, please nerf, but something like I'm really comfortable with this hero, but I don't want them to have that hero,
mhm.
kind of thing.
Other interesting characters or other interesting heroes I want to talk about that were I thought had a big impact were Bounty Hunter was played in 48 games, and he had a 69% win rate, which was absolutely insane for someone with that many games, like to have that much of an
Yeah,
impact.
that's a really good win rate, but it's mainly because he fits so well in the current meta, and
Mhm.
this new patch has been really nice to him. Uh, lots of way more team fighting than the farm fest of the last patch.
I
Um,
think I think we're definitely gonna see a nerf to track gold or just track
yeah,
in general.
Yeah, because I think this happens with a few heroes. Um, it's what happens is Valve sees that a hero is not picked much in a certain patch,
Hmm.
and they buff that hero, but they don't realize that it's because there are either better heroes that fit the meta of that patch,
Hmm.
or the hero just does not fit in the meta at all, right?
Yeah.
So that's what happened with Bounty Hunter in the last patch because everyone was farming, not team fighting. Track wasn't really useful. So with the nerf to creep gold, with changes to AOE gold and supports becoming richer in general, right? Bounty Hunter is not really as necessary anymore, and we can also see the same thing with Vengeful Spirit, right? Vengeful Spirit was really, really popular in the last patch, right? Picked a lot, even in pubs, picked a lot because strong hero, and one of the strongest points of that hero is that she didn't need much farm to be effective, right? She could be like extremely poor with no items and still have a big impact on the game, but because everything's changed now where supports can get a lot of gold from fights and they get more gold in general and like changes to wards, right? Like purchasing wards, supports can be richer. So because they
Hmm.
can be richer, why would you need a Vengeful Spirit when you can pick a support that works better with farm, that can get
Ven
more farm and be more effective. So
Venger's actually only picked in one game during TI5.
yeah, and it's crazy because not much has really changed of the hero. It's just everything else has changed, and that's something that Valve does a little too much, or I should say, the Dota 2 dev team, because, like I said, they have to focus more on does this hero fit the meta before buffing it, right? That's what's happening with Bounty Hunter now. They buff Track Gold because they're like, oh, he's not really being picked, so we have to buff Track. And then now that he's in a perfect meta, it's kind of like, oh, now Track is way too good, and we should probably tweak that too. So it's
Hmm.
kind of finding that nice balance between changing the hero and balancing according to the meta.
Yeah, it's that slow power creep that happens when a hero isn't picked, and then Ice Frog will just keep buffing him and buffing him and buffing him, and then all of a sudden that hero will be picked like so much, and then they'll have to nerf him back again, and then
Yeah,
another hero is gonna come up. It's just like slow power creep. Like that's just what happened. That's just how Dota is. Like
it's how
that's
most games are
just
really.
yeah.
Uh, but like one thing that really annoys me, and I really should say this now, I really don't like how Ice Frog, or I shouldn't say Ice Frog, I should say the Dota 2 dev team. When a hero is like broken, for example, a Shrek, they wait a really long time before patching the hero, right?
Yeah.
Because it would take them like probably a few minutes. Well, not a few minutes, but it should take them like an hour to just change a few values, right? Like change Leshrak's move speed, change the cast range on lightning, change the damage on lightning a little bit, right? And just
Mm.
hotfix it. But instead they choose to like wait and release everything at once. So my prediction is we're gonna get the Axe Immortal thing, maybe even the Reborn client as the main client. Replacing everything, the desert terrain. We're gonna get all that stuff with changes to the heroes. And it's nice to have a bunch, like a huge change to the game because it's really exciting. Like, look at all these things. Remember the last patch when we are looking at like Octarine Core, we're looking at Solar Crest, Glimmer Cape. We're like, whoa, this is so fun, and it's cool.
Hmm.
But it's not worth having to deal with Leshrac, right, being a beast and dominating pubs, for example. Why not just patch, like change a few numbers, right? It really wouldn't take them that long. I know, like I'm not an expert, but I know for a fact that they would just have to tweak a few numbers and change, let's say, his move speed. It really wouldn't take that long. I hope I don't sound too stupid right now. Like I hope I have somewhat of a point.
To be honest, I really don't mind like the whole like stomping heroes just for like the one patch because like it's just for the one patch. Like it's not like they're gonna be pub stomping for like patch like it's gonna be like in your game for the next year or 2 years. It's just for the patch, and then they'll get nerfed into oblivion and not played for like another 6 patches.
That's not
It's
really a good
just
way of balancing it, but that's not really how Dota works. Really, like heroes are really viable in Dota. Like no hero goes unpicked, right? There's at least like one hero's picked in a
well,
tournament or something. But
that's
like what you're saying is that it doesn't matter if a hero's like too powerful or not powerful enough because it's only one patch. But that's kind of like a bad way of looking at it. Like
I
I
just think
think
that
like were you okay with Troll Warlord like rampant everywhere? Like it's annoying and it could be fixed very quickly, but instead um, the dev team opts to wait and release everything at once, right? Like that's how they do everything. Like they nerfed Sniper and Troll in the same patch, and it was months of that. Like it was months. And now that TI is over,
six,
especially, they're not going to make a change in the middle of the tournament.
yeah,
TI is done. Now they can start fixing things. So why not just patch it? You know?
6.83 was a special example. That was just pure. That was just hell for months.
Yeah,
The
well, I
worst
mean, they
patch I've
do it all the
ever
time, you
played.
know? Like, just hotfix it, dude. Like, why do you have to release everything all at once? I know it's for hype. It's for sure, it's definitely for hype, because when a new patch, like, oh, look, 6.85 just around the corner, everyone's like, woo, and they go nuts, and they get crazy, and they throw a bit more money at Valve, you know, because they're so excited. It's cool, right? It's
Mm.
a good thing to build hype, but for the benefit of the game and like the best interest of the community, it's better to just fix it if there's a problem because Leshrac is a problem. Like there's no debate. Like Leshrac is too strong. Okay, uh, and everyone knows this. So why not just change his move speed, change a few little things, tweak it, and push it? That's all you gotta do, man. Like just tweak a few little things. Even Bloodseeker's not too strong. He's not as strong as people make him out to be. He's very annoying. He's not too strong. There are like a few things I'd change, like maybe the cast range on Rupture, or like the duration of Rupture. That's about it. And also Thirst, because Thirst is just unbelievable. But
All
you know
right.
what I mean, right? Like it would just
Yeah.
take like a few little things. They just have to sit down and fix it. But they're
All
gonna
right. Well,
release
now
everything
that
at once.
now that we're already talking about the next patch, what are your predictions on who's gonna get nerfed, who's gonna get buffed, that kind of thing?
Sure. Okay. My predictions. Track Gold nerf.
Just bounty
Leshrac.
hunter. I just think bounty hunter's gonna get nerfed in general. Like he's really strong right now.
I don't think he's. I think Track Gold is strong. I don't think Bounty Hunter in general is a very strong hero. I think Track is what makes him too strong
I
because
think
it gives an
he's
insane amount of gold and the AOE changes as well because they increased the gold that Track gives and then they increased AOE gold and they increased gold from kills. So that's what makes him a little too strong, I think.
what makes him so strong this patch is when you're ahead normally, like
Hmm.
you normally get less gold for killing people, but when you're bounty hunter on your team, you if you get track kills, you still get like a ton of gold for killing people. So it
Yeah,
helps you keep your snowball.
I think we spoke about this the last time. Like he kind of solidifies your snowball. Like
Mhm.
if you're winning, he makes sure that you keep winning, and he's also kind of good in a comeback way too, because like that track gold is really nice if you're behind.
Yeah.
But as we saw at TI, if you shut down Bounty Hunter early on, he's just completely useless.
Mhm.
So yeah, I made my prediction of it was Bounty Hunter's track.
Mhm.
Another thing is Leshrac's movement speed.
Yeah.
That's something I definitely see happening because that dude is fast, like
Yeah, he's
crazy
315
fast.
base is
Yeah,
like
that's
pretty quick.
insane. So yeah, that will probably get nerfed down to 305. Worse would be 300, but I think 305 is reasonable. I think Lightning's damage is going to be reduced. I don't think Pulse Nova is too strong. Pulse Nova is supposed to be really strong, and it's supposed to drain his mana. Like it's supposed to be a very strong, but not sustainable skill unless like you get really farmed. But at that point, you let a Leshrac get really farmed, you know. So yeah, it's probably going to be move speed, lightning, maybe on the cast range of lightning too, because you can snipe people from like across the
Oh,
fountain. It's crazy.
I bet cast range,
Cast range and
bounce
damage.
range, and cooldown are all going to be nerfed on lightning. All those are like ridiculously.
But like you have to make it strong in some way, right? Because like power
Yeah.
shot, let's say let's compare it to power shot, right?
Mhm.
Power shot's less spammable, but the trade-off is that it's very strong and it's got a really good range, right?
Yeah.
But it's also got a channel time, right? You can't nerf the cast range, the damage, the cooldown on lightning because then it becomes kind of like a bland kind of skill. Like that's kind of how Dota works, right? Because
Yeah.
every hero and every skill in general is kind of really strong in one sense and really weak in another, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's gonna be maybe one or two things, but not everything. So
I
maybe
think
okay.
I think they're gonna make it a lot more scaling because like the cooldown right now is 4 seconds at all level. I would not be surprised if they change it to like scaling more, so it's like 10, 8, 6, 4 or something like that. Second cooldown instead of just 4 second cooldown at all levels because
Hmm.
like it costs I think 70 mana at level 1 for I'm not like pretty decent amount of damage on a 4 second cooldown. It's like one of the strongest nukes in the game right now because it slows, it does a lot of damage, it's really spammable, and it doesn't cost much mana.
Yeah, and they're gonna make one. They're gonna keep one of those things, right?
Yeah,
Maybe it'll be really spammable. Maybe it's gonna be more powerful. Like maybe they'll
I
just keep the strength, like the damage, and
they'll
nerf
probably
everything
keep the
else.
slow on it because the slow is what makes
Yeah,
it like really like a good skill.
yeah. He needs
Yeah,
it
it does.
to set up Split Earth. I don't think they would
Yeah,
change that.
it actually doesn't do that much damage at max level. It just does like a lot of damage for like a level 1 nuke for its cooldown and its mana cost. It does 80 damage at level 1, which is like pretty decent.
And it's
But
consistent with every bounce. It doesn't change with each
mm.
bounce.
And it
It's like,
slows on every
yeah,
bounce too, which is like crazy.
that's really strong. Like most nukes uh, at level one do around 80 damage, 90 damage, right?
75 is like the
Yeah, like
common.
that's kind of like a baseline. Leshrac got like 80 on it,
Mhm.
plus it bounces, plus it slows, plus it's got a crazy cast range, plus it's got a low cooldown. Like
Yeah.
it's a really amazing skill. Um, I think they're gonna keep the cooldown, and they're gonna nerf the damage, and they're gonna nerf the they might nerf like the cast range, but I
Mhm.
think for sure the cooldown is something that they'll keep because
Really?
Leshrac is kind of really good at yeah
Hmm.
because Leshrac to me is kind of like a hero that is constantly like throwing out skills, kind of like a Timbersaw, like a Bristleback.
Yeah.
Kind of like you got Pulse Nova, you throw down your Split Earth in a team fight whenever you can. You throw out your Lightning whenever you can. Edict, you just use it like as soon as the fight starts, and you use it again when it's off cooldown. Like he's kind of a dude who just keeps like using all his skills in a fight. So I think they're gonna make it so that like you have your Pulse Nova on, you throw out your Split Earth, you have like Edict, and you're throwing out your Lightning off cooldown. Right, like I think that's what they're gonna try to do with Leshrac. They might nerf the slow, but I think the cooldown is something they'll keep.
Yeah, the slow right now is a 75% movement slow and it's a 1 second slow at max level, which is like a pretty significant slow
Yeah,
for how much damage it does and how much like what the cast range is.
yeah, but
So
the slow kind of makes sense though because you need to slow them for the split earth. Like that's kind of the
mm,
point of
yeah, I mean the
lightning.
slow is like they added
Yeah,
that a couple patches ago and it like really made him a lot stronger because it was used to be so hard to land his
yeah.
splitter.
Leshrac used to be a joke hero, but now he's kind of ridiculous. And I think that it's fine to keep the slow. Maybe change the slow a bit, but the slow is kind of now it's kind of like important for him. I mean, you usually will get a Yules on him anyway, but before you get the Yules or like even after you have the Yules, if it's on cooldown or whatever, it's a nice little thing to have. I don't think it's too strong on its own. I think lightning is too strong when you consider all the factors and you compare it to other nukes.
I think they're also going to nerf the stun duration on the Split Earth because it's a level 1, like at all levels, it does a 2 second stun, which is like
Um,
pretty
I don't think
pretty
so
strong.
because it takes a really long time to set up and it's telegraphed. Like I don't think the stun is a problem. Not even the damage on the stun's a problem. I think
I think the damage is really high on the stun, but
yeah, but you have to
it's 300 damage, or it's actually 120 damage at level 1, which is really hard to land. So it's
yeah.
understandable. It's
That's why
300
like I don't
damage.
think 2 seconds is too long for a stun like that. Like if
Really?
it was something like Marana's like maximum like Sacred Arrow's maximum distance stun, like that would be crazy. But like a 2 second stun is, in my opinion, is fine. Like let's compare it to Impale,
Lena?
right? Like
Oh, I was
Lion.
going to compare it to Lena because it's very similar in setup time and AoE and damage.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Because like I
Mhm.
kind of want to talk about like other stuns, like directed stuns, because a directed stun, like look at line stun, it's
Mhm.
not 2 seconds. It's kind of close, but it's not. I don't think it's 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
It's not 2 seconds.
Let me check. I know Nyx Assassins is 2.77 seconds. Lions is 2.52 seconds.
Wow, okay, guys, I am dumb, but I think yeah, that's kind of weird. Maybe the damage is higher on the Shreks. I don't really
The
remember.
damage is higher, and it's also harder to land because you can target someone with. I mean, you shouldn't do this, but you can target someone with Earth Spike, so it guarantees hit.
Yeah, but Leshrac, you gotta time it, so I don't think the stun is that strong because it's like, yeah, it's 2 seconds, but it's not directed. It's not the big main point of the hero. That's what I'm trying to say. Like it's
I mean, I think what makes it so strong is that he has his own setup for it. For like Lena to land her stun, you usually get a Yules, and it's got like a pretty long delay.
yeah. I think that's kind of what I don't like about Lena. Um,
Yeah, that you need a Yules pretty much.
she got picked a
Yules is
lot
pretty
too,
much core.
actually, in that TI.
Hmm.
So, do you think that she might see some kind of nerf?
I think she might see some nerfs. I'm not sure how much. Like she was picked in. Yeah, she'll probably definitely see nerfs. She was picked in 93 games with a 54% win rate, so she'll probably see nerfs, but not like really high nerfs or really strong nerfs or like you know.
It's mainly the fact that if you get Yulesed, you're basically dead. Like, there's really nothing you can do at that point.
Yeah, her
I know
ult's just
people.
like delete hero even through BKB.
Yeah, basically, like, Yule's stun, you're taking damage. She's, like, right clicking you because she has insane right clicks, too, because she's a really, really strong hero. Because she's not just, like, magical burst, because of Fiery Soul, suddenly she's a really good right clicker, too. Even without many
Yeah.
items, if you're getting attacked super fast, it doesn't matter if you're getting hit by, like, 100 damage per hit, because you're getting hit a lot. And then she throws out, a Dragon Slave and then Laguna Blade, so you're taking like so much damage, and there's really not much you can do about it. Like, I know you can get a Lincoln's, but Lincoln's doesn't totally help because maybe she has something to pop that also, who knows.
Mhm.
BKB doesn't help because if she catches you out, what are you gonna do? Like, you're Yulesed? You can't BKB while you're Yulesed, and you
Yeah.
kind of get permastunned. But I mean, that's kind of the beauty of Dota, right? Because like, it's annoying when it happens to you, but there's always a way to keep yourself from getting in that position in the first place, right? Like, it's kind of different from League of Legends, right? League of Legends is like, oh, I'm caught out, let me flash, oh, I'm safe. And Dota is kind of like, oh, I got caught out, well, looks like I'm dead. So
Yeah.
a lot of the gameplay isn't like not getting caught out. Doesn't make Lena less annoying.
I
And
think
I
I think there's a chance that we're gonna see a nerf on the damage of Laguna Blade or maybe the cooldown or something like that.
maybe, um, but
Because
then what
it's
what makes it so different from? Because the difference between Laguna Blade and Finger of Death is that
mhm.
Laguna Blade is more damage, right?
Yeah, but the thing what they're definitely gonna keep, what I see them definitely keeping is Ag's upgrade goes through BKB and makes it pure damage. That's what makes it so good. Is
Yeah,
that you
it's
can
crazy.
oh, they're anti-mage BKB'd, whatever. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
go through over half his HP with one skill. Like Lion can't do that. Lion doesn't have the same like
yeah. That's
he
kind of like how it's cool because like all the heroes are kind of different in their own way. Like some skills kind
mm,
of look similar. Like, oh, Laguna Blade is Finger of Death. Like, not really. Um, but it's nice because it gives each hero like their own kind of niche, right?
mm,
Like, you can pick Lion in a certain scenario where you might not pick Lena, and vice versa, you know?
yeah.
Like, so yeah, maybe there might be a change to Laguna Blade. Um, I don't know if it's going to be damaged though, maybe cooldown. Because
Yeah,
the
I think
the
it's gonna
best
be
part
one
of
of those
Laguna
two.
Blade is that you can just melt someone in like one hit. Like,
Yeah.
you ult them and they're gone. I don't think they're going to change that. Maybe the cooldown so that you can't do it as reliably.
Because right now with it's a 50-second cooldown, which is like ridiculously short for
Yeah,
such a strong skill. I mean, Lions is 40 seconds, and with Ags it's 20-second cooldown,
that's
which is
20 seconds is insane on that. But yeah,
yeah, but his also doesn't go through BKB,
yeah, and it does
and
less
he's
damage.
also not
But
a
it is
core.
AoE
He's
though. Can you imagine an AoE Laguna Blade? I would
very
cry, dude.
ridiculous. Pure damage Laguna Blade that goes through
Easy
BKB.
rampage.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Who else do I think is going to be nerfed? Queen of Pain and Gyrocopter. I think are definitely both going to be nerfed. I think Queen of Pain. I'm not really sure how they're going to nerf her, but
I don't know if it's the hero or the meta. Like,
yeah, that's
that's
what
the
I'm not
issue.
sure about. her win rate was actually not that good. She was picked in a lot of games, but her win rate was like only 45%, which isn't like great for how much she was picked. But I just think that like um why she was picked so much and why she was like so good is because they changed her ult to pure damage and goes through BKB.
Yeah, that was
So I
necessary
think
because she was really weak at the point.
yeah, like BKB just counters her a lot. And I think we also might there's a chance that we might see changes to BKB. I'm not sure how, but I feel like it's
Too
kind
strong
of
or
a
too
weak
weak?
item.
Yeah,
A
it
weak
is.
item. I feel like it's kind of a weak item right now, because so many spells go through it, or at least part of it go through it,
Yeah.
and it doesn't last long enough to really
Yeah, that's kind of
help.
something that the dev team is doing a little too much, in my opinion, because um, they're kind of like, we need to buff this hero, and
Mhm.
instead of thinking of other ways of buffing it without like ruining, um, like
The
they're
identity
kind
of
of
the
ruining another item to buff a hero, right? Because
oh
if they
okay
keep making things pure damage, if they keep making things pierce BKB, all of a sudden BKB becomes a trash item. So then what do? They buff BKB. But then what happens to the heroes that you artificially, I'm doing finger quotes, you don't see it, but I'm doing like air quotes, artificially buffed, right? Because they're not actually buffed. They're just making it so that with BKB, suddenly they're stronger, right? Like
yeah
against the BKB, they're stronger. So if you buff BKB, if it gets to the point where BKB is too weak, all of a sudden all these heroes, and it's a lot now because every patch we're adding a new one, all these heroes that you buffed, air quotes, are suddenly bad again. Maybe the meta puts some in a better position, but overall they're worse because they're not actually, they were never buffed. You just nerfed BKB in a different way.
yeah hmm
So that's kind of a thing that I think they're going to run into at one point because, like, what do you do at that point? Do you like buff BKB? Do you
hmm
change everything? Like, do you revert everything and then give them proper buffs, like different unique changes instead of just like, oh, pure damage pierces BKB done. You know, like that's kind of something that I'm not sure what they're gonna do. So I definitely think BKB is a little too weak. Like a lot of the times, like not just like in pubs, but like in other scenarios, it's like, oh, look at all these things that kind of completely ruin BKB, right? Like
yeah
it's just it's a very weird. It's a very awkward position for everything. Like not, everyone's going Scotty over, like not everyone, but in general, you can be like, I need to tank up. I'm not gonna get a hard because I don't benefit from like the strength.
yeah
Um, I need I need to not melt. Uh, oh wait, they have a Queen of Pain. They have Alina. They have I don't know. No one's picking Doom, but whatever. Like why would you go BKB when you can just tank up, have these stats, have a slow, have all these
hmm
great things, have it like also work with lifesteal, also work with diffusal blade if you choose to have a diffusal blade. Why would you get a BKB, right? And especially like in the late game, if you get it early, because like I need to stop getting stunned, I have to stop getting focused down.
yeah
In the late game, all of a sudden, this item that was a huge item is kind of worthless. Like it's nice for that 5 seconds of immunity, but after that, you're a sitting duck. Like it doesn't really help you. So maybe like they'll make it. Maybe like they'll revert it to the way it used to be. Because remember, you could buy another BKB and it would like
yeah
refresh. Maybe they'll do that because like look at what they're doing with Moonshard. Look at what they're doing with Boots of Travel 2.
hmm
Look at all these new like 7 slot items, finger quotes, seven these 7 slot items.
yeah
Um, Maybe they'll change it back because they're kind of buffing late game heroes. They're buffing like late game scenarios. Maybe they'll do that. I have no idea, but
I
they're kind of at a problem right now.
I don't think they're gonna revert it. That's not something Ice Frog typically does. Like
Yeah,
he
I
usually
honestly
doesn't
don't
go.
think so either. But I mean,
He did. I think they are gonna buff it in some way, either by making it cheaper, like they did with Desolator, because Desolator was like a pretty expensive item for what
yeah.
it did, and now they like
But
reduced
like,
the cost by 600.
but if it's cheaper, you still have the same problem, right? It's not a
Hmm
matter of having BKB earlier. It's like a matter of it being the late game. and your BKB is 5 seconds. What are you gonna
Yeah.
do? A Scotty doesn't give you extra stats, a slow, and it doesn't stack with life steal. Like it doesn't stack with life steal for a price. Like it's constant. It's not like I only have 5 seconds of all these nice benefits. It's like
Yeah.
a permanent. I have all this extra stuff, and it's awesome. BKB, yes, it does give you stats, not the greatest stats, but it gives you stats, and it does give you that like clutch 5 seconds of immunity. But in the late game, everyone has more disables, right? Let's say people have more sheep stick, which I think also needs some sort of change,
I
like a
think it needs to
buff.
apply break
Yeah, it does.
for
It really
sure.
does. So like all these supports or like supports or offlaners or whatever, everyone has like a sheep stick. Everyone has like a Shivas with their so that slow. Everyone has like a diffusal blade. Everyone has all these things. Like, what are you gonna do, right? Like, a BKB isn't gonna help you at that point. Like, it's kind of an item where I need it now, but if I get it now, I'm screwed later, right?
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
and especially if they have like a Lina, what are you gonna like? Why would you ever get a BKB? It's kind of like an awkward situation, and
Mhm.
if Valve keeps making it so that heroes are buffed vis-a-vis magic community piercing or pure damage, BKB is going to become a totally bad item, and it's already at a decline. Like people are getting it less and less. I'm getting it less and less. Like
Mhm.
I have no
I
reason to
I
get it.
I rarely get it. The only heroes I get it on like when I play Tiny, um, sometimes, but like a lot of the time, I feel like I just don't do enough with that item. I almost never get it as anti-mage anymore,
Yeah,
because all the stuff that like goes through BKB is like pure damage. So like,
exactly.
yeah,
And
it just yeah,
sorry, keep going.
I just like don't feel like it does enough on a lot of the core heroes I play that I need to get it. Like I get it in probably 1 in 10 games. I don't, or maybe like 2 in 10 games. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, but like it's like if you look at the heroes that are being picked a lot, they all have something that goes through BKB. Like Leshrac is pretty much countered by BKB, true, right? But in late
Mhm,
game, only
yes.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
5 seconds, okay. So cool, I guess. Like you survive for 5 seconds and then you get totally wrecked. And all these heroes that are really strong in this patch have abilities that surprise, surprise, either do pure damage, pierce immunity, or both.
Hmm.
So it's kind of creating this a meta of heroes that can work around BKB because BKB used to be an insane item. It's still a very good item. Like it's a good item, not a very good item. It's a good item, but it's seeing a decline, as
Yeah.
I've said. So it's kind of weird because like Lena picked a lot, ult goes to BKB.
Hmm.
Queen of Pain picked a lot, ult goes to BKB.
Yeah.
How even well, Bloodseeker 2 not picked that much in pro games, it still picked like an okay amount
So
everywhere in
he's picked a
pubs.
decent amount, I think.
Yeah, not like not a lot, but like a decent
Yeah.
amount because he's a solid. He's a really good hero right now.
Hmm.
And Rupture, guess what? Goes through
Picked with
BKB, and
BKB.
that's one thing I really hate about that hero because if you get ruptured, it's kind of like a Doom. Okay, it's not exactly like a Doom because you can still like use your spells and whatever, but it's kind of like I'm gonna keep this person out of a fight for 12 seconds, and I'm gonna cast it from like an insane range. And also, if they have a BKB, I don't care because it goes through BKB. Also, it
Hmm.
has really great synergy with Thirst. And Bloodright, but Bloodright's not his best ability, definitely not. But like that's kind of like what we've been talking about. Like these heroes that are really strong in the meta, they all have some sort of way of dealing with BKB.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I think that that's definitely we're definitely going to see a buff on that. I think items that are going to get nerfed are probably Solar Crest or maybe just evasion in general because evasion is really strong right now, and there's no
Uh,
way to disable it.
well,
Um,
I don't think Evasion is too strong. I think Solar Crest might be a little too strong, but not by much. I think Glimmer Cape is still a really strong item. Like might need some more tweaking. I don't think Solar Crest is as strong as people might say it is because
um,
Evasion is hard countered by one item, right? Like it's one item. Like that's why you don't see PA everywhere. Like you would see way more PA if evasion was like insanely good, because it really only takes one item, and especially in a meta with Lina and Queen of Pain, right? Like, what's your evasion gonna do if you get Laguna bladed or you know, what if Queen of Pain yells at you? What are you gonna do, man?
I still think evasion is insanely strong because it used to be you could disable evasion with a hex
Hmm.
or like any like a doom or anything
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
a
But
good
now
point.
the only way to disable there is no way to disable evasion. You have to get an MKB if you want to
Yeah,
hit them. So I definitely think I think we're gonna see some sort of change to evasion or some sort of change to break or something that allows
yeah.
evasion from items to be
Or
disabled.
I think, yeah, I think they should give break to Sheepstick, like we were saying before.
Hmm.
Scythe of Ice it needs it, because at this point, like, Scythe of Ice is always a decent item. It gives good stats and it's a
Yeah.
nice disable, but how good is it really as a disable if the target can, like, you know, still move, right? It moves
Hmm.
slower, granted, and it's disabled. It can't use its abilities and it can't attack for a little while. But
Yeah.
it's like, as soon as it's you can't, like, it used to be that you could, like, hex something and focus it down. Now it's like you hex something and you try to focus it down, and all your attacks are missing, and all these passes are still working on this hero. Like, why is this frog spinning its axe around when I'm attacking it? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? And I
Yeah.
think that might change. I hope it changes, because Scythe of Ice is not an item I really get anymore. It's a rare pickup for me.
I only get it when I don't get it to disable like passives like I used to. Like I
Yeah,
used to get it to disable on certain heroes like when I play Storm Spirit. I used to get it to disable like PA evasion or like disable Faceless Void or like those really slippery heroes that have really strong
yeah, like
passives.
mobility. Yeah, like now it's kind of used on mobility, right? Like, I don't
Hmm.
want this guy to get away, or I need to cancel this DP, and I don't have a natural stun. All these
Yeah.
things, and that's what you use it for. But it's not the same as it used to be. And I feel like
Mhm.
it needs that little tweak. It needs that, like, extra something, because it's like a stun at that point. But it's a very expensive stun,
Yeah.
basically.
I also think that we're gonna see more items or more abilities or stuff give break because now only the one item Silver Edge gives break, and I think
Yeah,
we're probably going to see some abilities that start to give break, maybe hexes or like maybe like I saw something on Reddit. I know it wasn't real, but it was like a leaked 6.85
yeah.
patch quote unquote.
Okay.
And it was like a Huskar's ult gives break, and I was like, that's actually a really good idea. That
Yeah.
would buff him like a decent amount.
I don't really think Huskar needs any changes, though. But I don't know if we should talk about that at the moment, but, like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. I just
yeah,
think that
more
break
things need
is
break.
yeah, more things need break.
Like, Silver Edge is a really, really good item right now. Like,
Mhm. Yeah,
you even got it on a Storm Spirit at one point for
yeah. Well, that was just for Huskar. That was one game though.
yeah, but it's effective because,
Yeah, that's
he
true.
benefits from the attack speed. The break is insane. It is countered by BKB because you can just BKB it off. But
I think the fact that I had to get a Silver Edge on a Storm Spirit to counter a Huskar shows that more
yeah,
items need
instead of a
break.
Scythe of Ice, like, why would
Yeah.
you ever, like, when Scythe of Ice used to disable passives, when would you ever have been like, yeah, I really need a Silver Edge over a Scythe of Ice on my int hero that doesn't even need invis, like, never would have happened. But now you're kind of forced to, because you're like, well, shit, like, oh, whoops, well,
I
poop.
mean, it
What am
won
I
us
gonna
the
do?
game, but it shouldn't have been the only choice I had to get. Like, it shouldn't have been
Yeah,
my only choice to help us win the game.
exactly. And that's kind of like, it's cool that all items have their niche, but, like, break is a very powerful effect, and to limit it to an upgrade to Shadow Blade is kind of weird. Like,
Mhm.
you would think that you would put it on, like, an int hero or on a hero that needs, like, some extra disable. Instead, you're putting on like a Slark.
Yeah,
Like, when would you ever have gotten a Scythe of Ice on a Slark, right?
yeah.
I mean, it's just so it's bizarre. Like, it's a very strong effect, but it's kind of like on a weird item that doesn't really work with it. If
I
if that
think
makes sense.
I think it works with it. I just think there are other items
Yeah,
that it would work with that it should have.
yeah, or heroes. Yeah, like, exactly.
Mhm.
Like, because it's such a powerful effect. Why would you put it on a Shadow Blade upgrade only, like
Yeah,
exclusively, unless you're playing like
exclusively. That's the
actually with
issue.
Doom it doesn't work either. Like Doom doesn't disable it
Yeah,
doesn't disable passives anymore.
the fact that Doom doesn't even disable
Yeah,
item passives or like evasion or anything like that is like baffles me. That
yeah.
does not apply break.
It doesn't make sense, but like this item will like this guy's ultimate, which is also his like namesake, right? If you
Yeah,
use it and it's got like a million second cast time, and it's also countered by Lincoln's pretty hard, it doesn't even disable break. But look, this Slark here picked up a Silver Edge, so it looks like you don't have any passes, buddy. And this Doom, poor Doom, is like he blinks on someone, he dooms them, and all of a sudden they're still evading all his hits, right? They still have all
mm.
these crazy effects from their items, like
And the build up for
how?
Silver Edge is like one of the easiest build up
Yeah, it's
items of the
insane.
game.
Like Shadow Blade's kind of an awkward build-up. I think Shadow Amulet is kind of a garbage item on
Mhm.
its own. But
Yeah,
like after that, you get a Sange, which is super easy to build, right? Like Ogre
yeah,
Club, Belt of Strength recipe.
yeah.
Wowee, like it's that's all it is. And then you get the recipe, which is like 600
600
gold.
gold.
Yeah, it's like it's such an easy build-up, especially like
You don't even need a secret shop for it. You can build it all
yeah.
at base.
And you don't even have to stop and farm for it because the ingredients are so cheap that you could just
Yeah,
be roaming with your team or like finding pickoffs by yourself. You don't even have to stop and farm it. You could just the gang train just never stops rolling, dude. You just go
and
around and you kill everything, and you're suddenly picking up these little pieces that also help you keep snowballing. Like you get a few kills, you get your ogre club, you get another kill, you get your belt of strength, you get another kill, you get the recipe for the Sange, right? And then
yeah.
you get the recipe for the Silver Edge, which is another 600 gold, which is peanuts if you're snowballing. Like it's not really.
And
It's kind of weird.
un unlike most 5,500 gold items, every component of it helps you in some way. Like the Shadow Blade itself is what, 2,800 gold?
Yeah,
And that by itself is already like like it's already like all you need. And then like Silver Edge is just an upgrade. Like for Slark, essentially. Shadow Blade is people used to build Shadow Blade on him all the time. I mean, people still build it on him, but people
yeah,
used to only build Shadow Blade on him all the time because it was like such a good item for him, and now they can just upgrade it, and the shadow like it's not useless. Like say you were building an MKB, which is similar in cost, the items only give you damage. The components only give you
yeah.
damage.
And
That's
it's a
like
weird
they don't give
build-up
you any
too. Like
effect.
it's a crappy
Yeah,
build-up. Like no one that javelin, no one really has one in their inventory. Like oh sweet a javelin, a
yeah,
value javelin, man. Like no one does that.
yeah.
Like it's a javelin. Who cares?
Javelin is such a garbage value item by
Yeah,
itself,
it's not something you just pick up
but
like a bracer or like a vitality booster or something like that.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. I okay. I also think that we're gonna see. What kind of nerfs do you think that we're gonna see to Gyrocopter? I think he's our last hero that we have to talk about. Who's probably gonna see nerfs?
Um, I think like I don't know if the change to what's his I forgot what it's called. It's not flat cannon, is it? Is it's his no rocket barrage. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm very
Yeah,
tired,
Ragnarok.
folks. But yeah, rocket barrage. The change to so that it has zero cast time was ridiculous. Like it was such a like it seems like a small change, but it's actually incredibly powerful. Especially if you get like phase boots on him, he becomes like he's just way too strong at all points of the game, right? And I don't think the issue is his homing missile. Homing missile was already changed and it does like insane damage, but there's ways you can play around it, right? Like one way is if he uses homing missile on you, you run back to your creep wave and you wait because if he tries to rocket barrage, he most likely won't hit you with all the little hits. Like it'll hit your creeps, and because you're close to your creep wave, hopefully, you don't take that much damage from the travel distance, right? So like, there's a way of dealing with it. Rocket barrage is kind of like a I don't care what you're doing, you're gonna die now kind of skill. And I don't know if they should
Yeah.
change the cast time on it. Um, I don't really know what they should change to Gyrocopter really. Like I know that he's very powerful, but I don't really know what changes would be appropriate or like best suited to him. Do you have any
Mhm.
like sort of idea? Because I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think that well, okay. I think that flat cannon is fine. The ability itself is like fine. Like I don't think that needs any
Rocket
changes.
Barrage or Flat Cannon?
Flat Cannon,
Oh, okay.
his AoE.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think Rocket Barrage. I think the zero cast time is fine. I think it makes it one of his stronger skills. I just think the damage, either the damage or the cooldown, is probably going to get nerfed because the
Yeah,
cooldown's like
well,
four. It's like 4 or 6 seconds or something retarded like that.
yeah, you know what? I do have a prediction now. The prediction is the cooldown only. The damage stays the same because he's kind of a hero, and it's fine if he is. He's kind of a hero like Juggernaut, where in the
Mhm.
early game, if you get caught out at Rune or you get caught out in lane, and he's
Yeah,
like level one, or even if he has boots or something, like or both, you're basically just you're probably gonna die, right? And that's okay
yeah,
because each hero is kind of good at that sort of thing. Like you wouldn't be like a spec like, oh, there's a specter at rune now. I can't get this rune. I can't contest that. It's a specter, dude. Watch out for that dagger. Like that never happens. But like Juggernaut and Gyrocopter are kind of like, whoa, that's a Gyrocopter there, or whoa, that's a Juggernaut there. I don't want to get spinned or rocket barrage to death, so I probably should back off. Or if I'm
mhm,
in lane, I should probably stay away from him. And that kind of makes them strong laners, right? So I don't think they're going to
yeah,
change the damage. Maybe the cooldown because it has to be the threat of Rocket Barrage. Like that does a lot of damage. He
yeah,
can cast it instantly, and I'm scared. The cooldown isn't really like the cooldown is really good on it. Maybe they'll change that, but I don't think they'll change the damage because the
yeah.
damage is kind of like a really important part of the skill and the hero. Yeah, kind of hard
Someone
to.
in the Twitch chat, I think that's Tim actually, was saying that how about give Scythe a Vice an upgrade that gave it a break? Like you could have an item that's similar to a Sanj or a Yasha that could combine with Sheepstick recipe
Mm,
and give it break. I think the only issue with that is that it's Scythe of Vice is like a 5,500 gold item, and if
yeah,
you combine it with another like 2,000 gold item, that's like a 7,500 gold item.
yeah, and that's
That
still not a buff to Scythe. It's not a buff
yeah,
to Scythe because it's like saying like Silver Edge isn't really a buff to Shadow Blade. It's kind of like its own item, right? Like,
mhm,
you know what I mean? If you get a Scythe of Vice, you get it because you need to disable. You need some way of shutting down or like, yeah, basically shutting down a hero's passives and like locking them down for a little bit.
yeah,
So I think like it's a pretty good idea considering like it's the same thing that they did to Shadow Blade. It's clever, I'll give you
yeah,
that. But like, it's still not. I don't think it's very good because you still have to spend that extra gold, like you mentioned, and it's still
mhm,
not an actual buff to the item. It's like an upgrade. It's like Boots of Travel level 2 are not a buff to Boots of Travel 1. They're just a new option if you have the gold, if you have
yeah.
like the means of getting it. So that's kind of um, that's kind of what I don't like about the change to Scythe of Ice. But it is a good idea. I just think that maybe they should just revert the break.
Yeah, I just think Hex in general should give break, like um or disable item passives or something, like one or the other, like because
Yeah.
break doesn't disable item passives, but there's actually nothing that disables item passives right now, and I feel like there needs to be something that disables like item evasion or something like that.
But like, would that also disable item armor?
No, well, like the way it used to work was Scythe would like disable all evasion and whatnot, but it there are certain things like it wouldn't disable.
Okay. Yeah.
Armor would. I don't think it used to disable
Quills,
armor.
well, I don't think Bristleback's passive was changed either. Like, there were some exceptions. Axe's
Yeah,
counter helix also wasn't affected by it, I think. I'm pretty sure.
I'm all right with X's counter helix
Yeah,
working through Hex. Like that
yeah, like
doesn't
he's
really
not a
bother me.
very strong, like he kind of falls off, you know? So you might as well give him that like little edge, right? Like early on and maybe in the late game, like it doesn't make the hero too strong, and especially since counter helix kind of falls off later with everyone getting more armor and more HP. So, I mean, it's all a matter of looking at each hero and the meta and or the current meta, I should say, not like the future meta of like the patch where this will be applied, and thinking,
Mm.
okay, this is a change that will be like appropriate. I hope I don't sound
Oh,
like a
okay.
lunatic, but
Actually, Doom does apply break, but only when you have an Aghanim Scepter.
oh, really?
Yeah, only when you have an eggs. And the only three things in Dota that apply break right now are Doom, upgraded Ag's Doom,
Hmm.
upgraded Aghanim's Shadow Demon Demonic Purge.
Yeah, Shadow Demon got so insane.
Yeah, he's like
Like,
a lot. I think he's a lot stronger than people realize, and
oh
I
yeah,
think we're
dude.
probably gonna see
He
him
might be
next
like,
patch.
yeah, he might be the next like OP support like Lion and Venge used to be.
I think he's going to be because like he's like so much stronger than people realize. I think.
Exactly, and he's just been like constantly buffed. Like, I don't remember the last time he was like nerfed, but and not just like a small nerf, like movement C change from like changed by one or whatever. Like, he's been getting significant buffs, and the new like changes to his ult, like introduced with the latest patch,
Mhm.
pretty crazy. Like, it gives you
Yeah,
so much. It's kind of like Doom, right? Because like Doom Ags just kind of kept getting changes. Like, Doom Ags also does this. Doom Ags also does that. So like, why would
Mhm.
like to the point where Ags is almost core or pretty much core on that hero. The same thing with Shadow Demon because yeah, the purge is nice, the slow is nice, the damage is good, but like, look at all these things you can do with an Ags. It's crazy, and I think he's gonna become like picked a lot because that's he's just a really strong support, honestly, and especially
his
because you can have synergy with like other heroes with oh, I'm really tired, guys. I don't remember what it's called. That like you know what I'm talking about when he it's kind of like Astral Imprisonment. What's the name?
which one for which hero?
Shadow Demon.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, disruption.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's the one.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's the one where
it's
it traps and makes illusions of him.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
got like really good. He's really good in utility too. And he farms pretty well. If you let him farm, he can farm really well with his poison. I
Hmm.
think he's gonna be really
His
really strong.
his ult is actually like so strong. Like
Yeah,
when
it's
you have
really
an
good.
Ags, you get three charges. You get a 100% slow 5 seconds that decays to 50% slow
Yeah.
um, over the 5 seconds, and then it does 400 damage and applies break and purges all buffs that they have, all
Yeah, it's
positive
basically
buffs.
like, oh, you're a strength carry. Well, I don't care. I'm gonna basically, like, let's say there's a Sven, right? Uh,
Yeah.
rip, rip all your buffs, Sven. Okay. Um,
Mhm.
have fun getting kited. You're never gonna hit anyone. By the way, I can do this to you two more times, or also do this to two more of your teammates. Ha! Have fun. Like, it's so crazy. Like, um,
That combined with his Soul Catcher, which amplifies damage by 50%, you can do like 600 magic damage to someone per cast
yeah,
of his
I'm
ult.
just I'm just waiting for the
That's actually
point
insane.
where Reddit is just like, Ice Frog, please nerf Shadow Demon, please do all these changes, and I'll be like, I told you so, because they're doing it again.
Yeah.
They're doing it once more, where um, they need to buff a hero, okay, because it doesn't fit the
Mhm.
meta, and then when the meta
Yeah.
suddenly fits the hero's too strong, and then people are like, please nerf, please change, and then it's kind of like this endless cycle, right? I
I mean,
think,
that's just the way Dota works, the power creep
yeah,
and
definitely, but like it
but
doesn't have to be there, right? Because I know it's not easy to predict a meta. It's not easy at all, but you
yeah.
can't base a hero's overall strength on one meta, and
Yeah.
that's what Valve does a lot. They look at a hero, they say, in this meta, this hero is crap. So let's just give him all these crazy buffs and hopefully he'll be viable. Then the meta changes, and then you have this hero that was crap, then you buffed it, and it fits in this meta perfectly. Suddenly you have a Lesh. Suddenly you have a Queen of Pain. Remember Queen of Pain was garbage? Everyone said Queen of Pain was the worst hero in Dota like 2 patches ago. Same thing with Lesh. Everyone said Lesh is trash hero. No one's gonna pick Lesh, and
Yeah.
now he's picked.
I think
Same with Bounty
um
Hunter also. Anyway, yeah, sorry, dude.
well, I think like that's that's one of the things I actually kind of like about Dota is that the meta it's not like League of Legends. League of Legends, the meta is extremely stale. It doesn't change much because they don't make radical changes to heroes that much. But in Dota, they are constantly changing the meta. They're like the way they nerf heroes and the way they like change the way items work and the way gold works and all that kind of thing actually changes the meta from patch to patch. So it's like never stale, even though like you'll have some OP heroes or like what are considered OP heroes for patch. It's not like they're a guaranteed win, and it's also not like it's also like different than whatever the patch was before. Like it's I don't know how to explain it, but like it's just the way they do balance changes and balance logs and stuff, it's like way different than every other patch. It feels different than every other patch. It almost feels like a new game that you're playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can. It does get old playing against the same heroes, like the same really strong heroes. But I would rather have that than have a stale meta for years, like the same meta over and over.
Yeah, but like I agree with you. I think League of Legends is very badly balanced, and they blatantly just buff heroes that they just released or release skins for. Like it's kind of like Riot is a trash company. I'm just gonna say it now, guys. I'm sure you're all aware Riot is a trash company taking advantage of everyone. Everyone just loves them. But anyway, I do like Valve for having heroes that are very strong and not bland. Like, have you seen team fights in League of Legends? First of all, they rarely happen. Second of all, when they do happen, it looks like nothing's really happening. Like, everyone's hitting each other with like a wet noodle, and then everyone flashes away, and then everyone farms again. You know, like I do like that about Dota. But like, you can have all this excitement, you can have all these new metas and these new patches and these new shifts in like everything. But you can do that without completely destroying a hero, and you can do that without completely buffing a hero, like over buffing a hero, right? Like
Yeah.
all they have to do is say, well, look, at this in this meta, this hero is not very strong. So instead of being like, let's just make him ridiculous, maybe he'll be viable. Maybe they can be like, well, what if we make some changes to gold? What if we make some changes to um, pure damage? What if you make some changes to magic resistance? What if you make changes to like all these other things? And in that sense, you can make a hero more viable. You can make multiple heroes more viable without completely dumpstering one hero or putting another hero on like a pedestal up to the heavens. You know, like um, all I'm saying is there's a more balanced way of creating a new meta, right? And I know
Mhm.
Valve doesn't intentionally create meta. Like they're not like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna make a meta that's exactly like this. They have a general idea. Like with the last patch, they wanted it less farm fest, more team fight, right? And I'm sure they didn't see all these things happening. But if they were going to create that meta, if they had that meta in mind, then they should have like. I'm not mad at Valve at all. I'm just saying maybe there's a way that they can see that these heroes that they buffed a lot in the past are maybe too strong in this meta that they're currently creating, right? Like they should have seen that with Bounty
Mhm.
Hunter or Lesh or Gyro, Queen of Pain, right? Because like I said before, a lot of these heroes that I'm mentioning now were trash early. They were terrible. Like no one picked them. Like Queen of Pain, everyone said was bad. Bounty Hunter, everyone said was bad. And now these heroes are suddenly really great, like maybe too great, and it's
Yeah.
because the meta shifted. So there has to be a way that they
Mhm.
can see this, right? They should look back at the changes and say, if we're going to create a teamfight meta, we need to change this hero a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of a rant, sorry guys. Just something that I kind of noticed, and I'm kind of a little unhappy with it. But I do love Dota 2. I love Valve, um, and I love the United States of America.
Whoa.
I'm
Why?
not even American,
You're
but
Canadian.
I know. I do like America, but yeah, I'm just saying that there are some things that maybe Valve should be more aware of before they jump into a patch with all these exciting. Like it's exciting, but it's not very healthy when you have to make these huge changes. You know that aren't really good overall.
I wanna really quick go back to the break thing. I just want to talk about how strong break is. I was looking at the page for break, and like some of the things it disables are just like what? Like it disables Abaddon's borrowed time, the passive, how it automatically activates when you go below 400 HP.
Yeah.
Disables that, so you have to manually activate it, which most Abaddons don't do, honestly.
Yeah,
Um,
that's something I saw too. I found it funny because I'm sure in the trench, um, it's like someone picks Abaddon, and there's a Slark that like disables his ultimate, and he's like,
mhm.
"Wow, game is broken," or "Hacking Slark, please report." You know,
So
like
it's nerf.
I'm sure it happens, but
Yeah. Some other things that it disables are Slark's Shadow Dance, the regeneration movement speed when he's not visible, or
But he could
like,
just purge it, can he?
I mean, yeah, he can purge it. I think. I
I'm
believe
pretty sure
breaks
he
purge
can.
it. Yeah, but still, like the fact that it
Yeah,
breaks.
yeah, it's nice, but you just have to wait a few seconds, press Q, and yep. But yeah, I do find it kind of funny the way that works.
Hmm.
We should probably wrap up, but I would like to
Yeah.
tell you about my pub game I
Oh yeah,
mentioned.
you were gonna tell me a story. All
I
right.
have to tell, dude, this was the most terrible, disgusting game I've played in like I don't even remember the last time I played a game this disgusting and terrible. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna I don't remember much and I'm exhausted, so I'll do my best, but no promises I'll get everything perfect. So
Yeah.
I picked Tusk. Okay, I went in the offlane with a Marana,
Hmm.
and this Marana was like auto attacking and such, but it's fine. It happens. We had a bounty hunter. He was soloing safe lane because they had an undying. We were trying to be clever, but it didn't work because the undying went safe lane.
Yeah.
Like you can't get into the minds of other in like of trench tier players.
Yeah.
So the bounty hunter is farming, right? We're just having a fun time, and I
Did
see
he
him
go Battle
building.
Fury?
Oh, dude.
What?
Well, it's you'll see. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I'm looking at his items. It's like 15 minutes into the game.
All
He's
right.
got a stout shield, two tangos, and a ring of health.
Okay.
Okay,
Wait.
no
No boots.
boots. No
No
boots.
boots. All right.
Why would you
Fantastic.
need boots, dude? No
Yeah,
boots.
he has invisibility's invincibility, right? You don't need
Yeah.
boots.
So I say, hey, bounty hunter, uh, why? Okay, like what are you doing, dude? And
Uh
he's
huh.
like, oh, I need the regen. I'm getting a perseverance. I'm like, are you gonna build that into anything? He's like, probably a battle fury. And I'm just like,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, like whatever, it's
Pretty
fine.
good.
Meanwhile, we
Pretty
have a
good
Shadow
item.
Fiend mid. Okay, this dude stole mid from me because I marked mid. He randomed a Shadow Fiend
Hmm.
and he stole
Yeah.
mid. So I said, okay, fine. You get your bottle, you get your fancy little things. Take mid, go for it. Okay, he was
Yeah.
versus a Bloodseeker.
Okay. That's a lost lane there.
But keep in mind, they had a Spear Breaker on the other team. So I said, hey, dude, you might want to be a little careful because they have a Spear Breaker and he counters Shadow Fiend pretty hard. He said, don't worry about it, dude. I'm a team player. I'm a team player. That's what he kept saying. I'm a team player. We also have a techies, and we had no actual support. I ended up buying Flying Courier as a Tusk with like no farm, like no farm no levels because I was dual laning. Okay, so we had a techies who picked the techies. He's like, just chill, bro, just chill. I'm a team player. Like that's kind of a theme of the game. Everyone's just saying they're team players for whatever reason. So our team player techies, all right, did absolutely nothing the whole game. Okay, like he would
Yeah.
steal kills with mines and be like satisfied, which is whatever. You're getting kills, you're helping out. Okay, but this Shadow Fiend dude, this Shadow Fiend, it was 8 minutes into the game. Okay, he was zero
Okay.
seven.
Oh, what? How does that
Yes,
even
dude.
happen?
Because you want to know how that happens? Because
How?
he dies, he gets charged. Okay, he runs back to lane, and he just sits there. And I say, hey, dude, you might want to back up. Maybe farm some jungle camps. Maybe you'll catch up. He never answers me. Spearberg like charges him, right? He gets 17%ed. I saw some crazy 17% in that game, dude. It was crazy. So he just keeps getting 17%ed, and what does he do? He gets a TP or he just walks. He did this a lot. He would walk back to lane. He would go to lane. Guess what would happen? Rupture, bash, right? Rip and pepperoni, and he'd be gone. And I kept saying, just go to jungle, dude. I swear to God,
Yeah.
he ended the end of the game. I think he was 2-20. It was
Oh my
unbelievable,
gosh.
and I was trying to do my best, dude. I was actually managing to get kills and escaping. Like I think I finished 9-8 and 15, which is pretty solid considering what I went through. But holy crap, dude, that was so brutal. It was really bad. And this Shadow Fiend, oh, you're gonna cringe because I know you don't like this. He bought a blink first, right? It's a good item.
On Shadow Fiend?
Yeah, it's a decent
Okay.
item.
Yeah,
So he
no,
gets,
it's
yeah,
not bad.
he gets the blink. He's still not farming very well because he's getting completely wrecked. This is like 35 minutes into the game. He's got like
Blink treads.
Wraith Band, Treads, and a Blink. Okay,
Okay.
so I see him building an item, and I don't know what he's getting. So I'm like, hey man, what are you building? He doesn't answer me. So I'm playing the game, and when an item kind of gets built, it pops up. Like it pops up on the screen when someone builds an item. I see a
Yeah.
Shadow Blade. So I said, "Hey man, uh,
Okay.
you have a blink. We're playing versus a Bloodseeker, and we have an Invis hero. Why on earth would you get a Shadow Blade?" And he says, "Don't worry, man. I'm a team player. Okay, I honestly like I try really hard not to get mad because it is a game, okay, and you're playing with people. Maybe some of them might be slightly retarded, and that's
Mhm.
fine. But it was so bad. Like I cringed. I cringed so many times during that game, dude. It was so bad. I couldn't believe it. Like I'm actually you have to watch this, okay? I might send you the ID because it's really fun. I watched it with Tanner. For those of you who are for some reason still listening, Tanner's a friend. Well, friend air quotes because yeah. Anyway, he's this guy who sometimes memes. Anyway, so he was watching and he said, "I can't believe like it hurts to watch your games, dude." And I said, "Yeah, I know." And that's one thing that we also I think Valve should introduce is maybe some sort of recalibration once every even once every 6 months would be fine. Like, would it really be harmful to the game if once every 6 months you can recalibrate? Like, what would that? How would that be a bad thing, right? I think that would be a really good option. I would really love to recalibrate. I'm not saying I'm like 9K MMR pro, but I'm saying I definitely 100% do not fit in this bracket because I played way too much on ranked, and I didn't play any ranked, and now I'm trying to grind up, and I'm stuck, right? Like, I mean, I slowly can climb out, but it'd be so much better if I could just recalibrate, and it would be so much better for everyone who also is in my position.
Yeah, yeah, I don't I climb. Okay, so I started playing ranked again recently, and I was 2.7K, and I had stopped playing ranked about 6 months before, like 9 months beforehand, and I climbed up to 3.2K, and then I lost 8 games in a row, and I dropped back down below 3K, and I'm just like, I don't. I just hate playing ranked because of that. Like I get like really crappy teammates, like so many games in a row, and then I just lose. And like I'll usually go mid or safe lane. I'll usually do pretty well. And I'm not saying like I couldn't have done anything better. Like there's obviously things I could have done better to help us win the game, but I'm just saying that I usually have the even on games I lose. Like I played a game yesterday and I lost as gyrocopter. Even on games I lose, I usually will have one of the highest, if not the highest, like gold per minutes and XP per minutes in the game.
Hmm.
Like I had, I we lost. I lost a game yesterday where the gyrocopter game, and I had like over 600 gold per minute. The next highest was on their team was like 500 something, like 520, and I was
Blaze
just
it.
yeah, what what,
520
and
blaze it, dude.
yeah, true. And it's just like it really frustrates me because I know I can be in a higher MMR, but I don't. I really get like really depressed when I lose a lot of ranked games in a row. So
And
I
yeah, like
am
I
not
mean,
happy anymore.
like I'm sure there are people who would hear what we're saying and be like, "Oh, you guys are complaining that you're stuck in the trench. There's no way you're stuck in the trench." Yeah, I agree. Like, there's no way you're stuck in a trench. It's just it's a pain to grind out of it because like you can grind out of it, but it's like I don't want to. Like, it's
Yeah.
painful. You should see these games that I play, guys. I calibrated. I calibrated at 1.7K because when I started playing the game, there was a glitch where the battle point booster, when there used to be battle point boosters, they would never expire. So literally every game I was playing, I was getting like 300% more, more XP. So I was leveling up like crazy. So when I played ranked right away, I calibrated super low. I was no, I calibrated, dude. I calibrated 1.3K. Now and then I just played unranked, and I play with Josh and some other people. Sometimes we play in high skill or very high skill, mainly very high skill. Quite often when we play unranked.
I think now when we play, it's every single game is very high skill bracket.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm amazing 5K. I'm saying I don't belong in my bracket now, which is 2.4K, right?
Is it? Yeah,
And I
before
could,
2.5.
yeah, like I don't want this to be misinterpreted. I'm not saying that I'm like amazing. I'm saying that I'm better than this, and I could grind out, but I just don't want it. Like it's not fun.
Only
It's
getting 25 MMR per match is like painfully
Exactly.
slow to
And
grind up.
it's even worse when like you can just let's say you just pick Storm Spirit and you go mid, right? You can't always do that because there's gonna be one dude, at least like every couple games, who steals mid from you, right? Or demands mid right away and then just loses it, right? And you know,
Mhm.
whatever, it's okay, but how am I can't grind out of the trench as efficiently if I can't just go mid whenever I want. And I'm not saying there should be a rule where I go mid every game instantly. I'm saying there should be some sort of option, even if it's just a rare option, like once every 6 months, even once every year. Even I would be okay with that because I could recalibrate now if that was an option, and I would be okay. That would be fine, right? Because people like to try new things. They like to play new builds. They like to try out like different heroes and different metas, you know. And maybe they'll be doing this in unranked. Maybe they'll be improving in unranked. And meanwhile, their ranked MMR is stagnant. It just stays there. So when you're like finally at the point where you're much better, you're considerably better than you were before, you don't fit at all in your bracket. So you're forced to grind out, and like for the reasons I stated just before, you can't just grind out because there's always something, right? Like you can, it takes you really long to grind out of that. If you're playing like alone and someone steals mid, and people like feed on purpose, that happened to me like recently actually. This dude was like, "This game is over, GG," and he just kept feeding towers, like at the tower, which is next level stupid. I don't even have to explain that, but it affects my games, right? And I'm sure it happens in every bracket, but it's more punishing for me in a bracket where I'm desperately trying to climb out.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's
I hope that made sense to everyone. I don't, again, to reiterate, I don't think I'm amazing. I'm saying I'm better than I might be in right now. And I don't want to spend all this time uh, shooting myself in the foot.
yeah. All right. Well,
So
I think we should just. I think we had like a good talk about the meta and stuff. I think we should
about a
probably
few
wrap it up now.
things. I hope that everyone who's listening or had listened enjoyed. You can think I'm stupid if you want. That's totally fine. As long as I brought some sort of entertainment to you, I'm happy with that. And I know you guys all think Josh is stupid. That's just how he is. So please don't tease him about it.
I mean, I'm not that stupid. I just come off that way. I
Yeah, I
just
mean, he
really.
does look like an ape. You don't actually look like an ape. I'm just anyway. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyway, so thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it. And I'm every time that you guys tune in, I don't think anyone's listening now, but every time you tune in, it's really nice. And if when you ask questions, it makes us happy because it's like, look, we're entertaining these people. We're actually, sparking some sort of interest or starting a conversation. We're really glad every time anyone tunes in. So please keep tuning in. We're always going to try to entertain you, right? We're going to try to have more interviews. We're gonna probably create some sort of solid schedule now. Like beginning of the broadcast, we said we can't really have a solid schedule. Well, we couldn't at that point because of personal matters with everyone involved.
Mhm.
But we're kind of at the point now where it's kind of becoming more steady, and we can maybe create like a solid schedule for you. We hope that you can tune in and have a good time with us. So
Yeah.
I'm Dan and Josh. Say
Oh,
something, please.
oh, yeah. Our schedules are definitely like a lot more steady now. I pretty much have the same schedule every week, so we'll probably try and get something to you like at least once or twice a week. And we'll post that schedule up on the Defense of the Radio website for you guys. Um, yeah,
Definitely.
and I
Oh,
hope you
and
guys
and
can
one more
listen.
thing, guys. Sorry,
Yeah.
one more thing. Um, Josh didn't post it on the Reddit post, but you should be able to tweet at us during the broadcast. We'll do
Mhm.
that next time. It's not very easy. Like when we're just two dudes right now. Like I'm managing the software. I'm also looking at the Twitch stream and the website stream. So it's kind of hard for me to look at everything, but we try our best to like look at tweets as well. So if you want to tweet at us during the broadcast, you can do it. We'll try to acknowledge you. If not, don't take it personally. You're just really busy. So yeah, I'm Dan. Josh is
I'm
with
Josh.
us. Yes, he's a wonderful man. He's a wonderful ape. And we'll see you guys soon.
All right. Thanks for listening.